So now we're going to go over items to include in the purchase and sale agreement. So if you do not get the bank deposits, you need resident ledgers. And when you get those resident ledgers, if the resident files are not complete, please make sure to get tenant Estoppel letters. And this is super important because they'll be able to tell you what concessions that they're getting and how much they're paying every month. And this is super important, right? Remember, we said at the beginning, you either want certified bank deposits, resident ledgers, or Estoppel letters. So another item to ask for is credits for non-rent ready units. You don't want to go into a property having some of the units be destroyed and you having to pay so much more because they weren't rent ready. And then another item is making sure that the website, any social media, and phone numbers convey, and that is included in the PSA, just because you don't want to have to worry about an old website being up or not knowing social media logins. You want to make sure that all of that comes right for takeover.
Absolutely, and then some other things you want to include in the PSA are items like a Force Majeure clause, which basically says, like, if something happened, an act of God happens, you can get out of the contract. Like, hey, like a pandemic, like we just experienced in 2020. A lot of people were kind of caught with their pants down because they didn't have a Force Majeure clause. So make sure you have that clause in your PSA. There's going to be probably a lot of pushback from the seller, but just keep pushing back, working and negotiating, using those negotiating skills to make sure that clause is added for sure. The other thing you want to do is make sure you include language to ensure that the seller maintains at least 90% occupied and a certain dollar amount in collections so the loan proceeds do not take a dip and you can close with agency debt if that's what you're going for. The loan proceeds that you're getting are based off of a certain vacancy and a certain dollar amount in collections. So whether you're getting agency or bank debt, make sure you're chatting with your lender to know where that's at. And maybe you can try to get that language in there. A lot of times you won't be able to, but hey, it's always worth a try. Also, you want to make sure that you add in extra days if there are any holidays during your time to close. We closed during the holidays and we made sure that, hey, Christmas and New Year's Eve were added on. Those days that we lost during due diligence were added on to the closing time. Also, you want to attach your due diligence list from the LOI, which we discussed in a previous video, and then put that into your PSA as an addendum, of course. Last thing you want to ask for is that there's language in the PSA that the seller accepts responsibility for any code violations or chargebacks incurred before the purchase of your asset. That wraps up all the items you want to try to have included in your purchase and sale agreement.